Hey folks, how you doing? How you doing out there? Welcome to number 6 in our AGAVARAMA feature here. You'll notice that I'm not in my normal locale. Michelle has something rocking out there in front of the whiskey rack. Uh, but looking like it's going to be a busy week. So I wanted to get rolling here with another video. I did one yesterday, but I'm going to do another one today. And in the last video, I told you that we were going to kind of wind down our talk about tequila and move on to mezcal. Felt like a really good day for it. It was a little cooler today here in Chicago, and wanted to start talking about the mezcal process. So this new locale, this is my little room where I at home where I do some computer work for all that kind of stuff. You'll see the keyboard, different place, not as nice looking, but I'll also be able to point out a few things here. So without further ado, let's talk about mezcal. So some people are kind of confused with that element of, well, what's the difference between tequila and mezcal? Or maybe you're not. Think of it this way. Actually, mezcal kind of came first before tequila. So tequila is really, if you kind of look at it in the way it developed, it's a version of mezcal. Okay, that has just become more and more popular, as you can see. So the primary difference that we can see here is the method of cooking. Okay, the agave hearts. Okay, this process that they use for mezcal will impart a little more smoky taste and flavor to essentially the same starting point. Okay. Um, mm, Today, woo, I'm going to bring you kind of a more of a one that you're going to find. I was going to get too specific too fast, and I'm going to bring you Banhez mezcal artisanal. I'm not going to try to do the kind of Spanish inflection on all the words here. Okay, so let's talk about how mezcal is produced, and in the process, we're also going to talk a little bit about the way that tequila, because it's not very different until the cooking. So, when we're talking about mezcal, we're obviously using agave. Now, just in case you're aware, we're not talking about like going to Whole Foods and buying a big thing of agave syrup and pouring it in, and hey, I'm going to start making my own mezcal. Not going to happen. It's a big process. Okay. Same thing with tequila. So when we're talking about agave, what we're talking about is they have to cultivate or harvest the plant. Okay, if you look over here, we're looking at a plant right now where this is the heart or the piña, covered by these things that I can't remember, these kind of spiky leaves sometimes depending on the plant. And then there's this was it owote? Quote? I can't remember the name of it, but that's actually the stem that's growing up and flowering. So the part that we're going to talk about is right down there, covered with these leaves, the heart. So when they're going to process this is tequila and mezcal. Again, depending on the size of the distillery. Are they making that, who knows how they're doing that with these companies make this cheap junk. But here, they're going to actually cut that top part off, or the flowering part, or the stem off, and then let it grow for a little longer. Now, the thing about mezcal and tequila that's kind of hard to wrap your head around is they really can't do anything with an agave plant that's younger than, say, 6, 7, 8 years old. It takes a long time for these things to mature so that they can make mezcal and tequila. So once they do that, okay, they cut off those pines so they don't stick, and they have to dig this base, this heart, the piña, up. And piña, yes, it is kind of like a pineapple. It doesn't look exactly like a pineapple, but I guess you could, if you look closely, look up agave hearts before they're harvested, it kind of does look like a pineapple. So now they take that, and now this is the second step. They have to mash those hearts, okay, because they couldn't produce anything from those hearts at that size. Some of those can be really big. It's kind of like a tree root, if you will. They could weigh 100 pounds. Okay, so this is all again on the smaller scale like this, and some of the other ones I'm going to bring you. it's a very labor-intensive process. So now they have to take these hearts and they have to mash them. Okay, um, more and well, it can be done in any different types of ways. The more fascinating one I've mentioned before, I know this picture is kind of off angle, but is using a tahona. So that is a big ceramic wheel around the middle of a post, and it sometimes can be turned by a horse or a mule or something like that. And this big, heavy volcanic wheel is wheeled around and smashes these hearts. So they'll throw a bunch of hearts in that container or that apparatus, and then they mash it. Now they don't have to do that. Again, it's the tahona process. Some do, some don't. More don't than do. Um, Other ways are just literally by hand using a kind of a machete to kind of chop them up into little bits or mash them with something. There are mechanical shredders. Some of them are just basically mechanical shredders, like very homespun kind of things in the smaller distilleries. And then, of course, you're going to have this diffuser shredder that the big companies use that literally just chop it up into a mulch. Okay. Again, I don't want to knock any of those things, but yeah, just kind of like making juice for yourself, right? You can, kind of, I guess you could beat the snot out of an orange and get some juice, but it's a lot more, you're getting the best when you cut it and then you use a squeezer, a hand, squeezer, something of that nature. That's it. That's going to be up to you to decide if you think that the ones that tell you that they're using more handmade processes or more agriculturally kind of older artisanal style is up to you. Okay, so now we have this pulp. Okay, and this is where it gets interesting. With tequila, it has to be cooked so that we can start the fermentation process. Okay, this is where it's different. So what happens is when they're making mezcal, is we got a pit, then we throw a bunch of logs down there, they're lit on fire, and then big volcanic rocks are put on top of it in the pit. Okay, probably not any different if you've been in Hawaii and they're doing kind of pit roasting. Okay, except instead of putting a pig that they just dragged in, what they're going to do is once those rocks get a certain level and the charcoal now has kind of settled in and a lot of that smokiness is off, now they're going to place the hearts right on top of those rocks to cook, and they cover those rocks. Then they put a big tarp over that. You can put dirt on there, and now those are going to cook for a very long period of time. Okay, what that's doing is softening the material, and it's also starting with some yeast. Some distilleries use airborne yeast, others buy distillers yeast, others buy whatever. Okay, so now we're going to ferment. So that's a very starchy. The heart is very starchy, and now through that fermentation process, we're converting those to sugars, which will then convert to alcohol. Okay, so now when we're done with that fermentation, this mash is really, really low alcohol. I think was told that would be like 6 to 7. Okay, but it's still a mash. It's something you could not drink. And then, like many other distillation processes for spirits, I just want to mention that pit thing is kind of what's special to mezcal and what kind of bumps it up a little bit. So now they're going to distill it. I'm not going to go into the process of distilling. You know what a still looks like, okay? You probably understand the concept. The mash is kind of boiled. The steam rises up, leaving the solids. The steam comes up. It comes over usually in most of these kind of processes. Comes over into a line. The mist comes down through, in mezcal, usually a cooling box, which is the pipe that the steam is coming through. Okay, the cold water in there will make that turn back into a liquid, and that's what comes out of the still. Okay, the first bits of that are going to be very, very high ABV and a little bit bitey. Okay, you wouldn't want to drink just all not like extra virgin olive oil. Then there's the middle part, which is called the body, and then there's the ends. I can't remember the name of those in Spanish. I know they are in Scottish, in English when they do Scotch. Okay, and then the kind of skill there is to mix those together to kind of get what they're going to put in the bottle. Um, in this case, this brand, this is a Hoven, so it hasn't been aged. Okay, um, this one, okay, Banhez. Before that, just to say, mezcal will have a different kind of flavor. The I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like maybe you'd say if you get some citrus from most tequilas, okay, in addition to just agave roasting, um, maybe it would be a little more citrus flavor in the tequila versus a little more barbecued fruits or smoked fruits. So yes, it's obvious. When they're making tequila, it doesn't necessarily have to be this roasting process, but this logs over volcanic rock kind of gives it a little more smoky flavor. This one in particular, I picked this one really because it's good, not excellent, not like this standout, but it's good, and you can find this everywhere. I've seen this in Jewel Osco here in Illinois. I've seen this in Whole Foods. This Banhez. This is they say it's artisanal. I don't know. This is actually a combination of two different types of uh, agaves, Espadin and Barrill, which will sometimes be called an Ensemble. Sometimes it's just one, okay, or the other. I don't know if there's anything else really noted about this, except it's a nice, good starter one. Bottle a little higher, bottle at 42% versus the 40, which is nice, especially considering that for most of us we should pay about between 32 to maybe 40 for this bottle. It's a nice, tasty bottle. I'll give you some tasting notes. You can see the color. I don't have a clear. I guess I'm kind of shooting off the hip here, starting our mezcal thing. Shooting from the hip, I meant, or off the hip. I guess it's actually correct. Um, on the nose here, what's different that jumps out here is that maybe those kind of tangy citrus notes that I'm getting from a lot of tequilas, especially ones that aren't aged in a kind of a flavor imparting cask. Here, those are kind of knocked down. Still solid. It's an agave product. On a big nose, you do get a little bit more of a smoky note. This one is not known for being overtly smoky. There's some other ones that have much bigger flavors in terms of that smoke. We're going to bring you those in another video. Just looking around, if you're not making a special trip and you're going to the store, this one is going to be very popular. Vida Pueblo is going to be very popular too. You're going to see that around a lot. The Luna one is supposed to be or La Luna is also very nice. We don't have those yet. That might be I don't know. I keep on saying this is my last purchase, that I'm like, and then there's some other ones that are, you can get very, very fancy with all that. I'm not going to bring you those. I'm going to bring you ones that are going to run between this price and maybe a little higher, okay? Well, in a couple cases, I'm going to get under quite a bit higher. On the taste. This is very, very tasty. Because this is Ensemble, it's a blend of two different types of agave. This might be a little more citrusy because of the Barrill, from what I understand, agave in here, than most mezcals. This isn't a standout definitive mezcal. It's one that you're going to find a lot. We've had many bottles of this because it's nice tasting. It's affordable. We've given it to some folks. They all seem to like it. It's a good starter. Also great when you're making some tequila or agave cocktails and you want just a hint of smoke on it. It's not overly powerfully, like I said, flavorful. We'll talk about a few more of those in another video. So what you're looking for, again, there's going to be some different nomenclature in terms of aging and something like this. You're going to get an age. This is going to say Joven over Blanco. I don't know 100% sure why that is. Maybe it's because in this process with the more fiery smoke, maybe you're not going to get a clear mezcal. I'm only guessing on that. I don't really know that. The other thing is you're going to see 100% maguey. That's just that's agave. Um, On the very end of this, we do get a little more smoke note, and we get a little bit of a medicinal. Mm. Sometimes when I'm in some bourbons, we can get a little bit of this medicinal. The only way I can kind of describe it is kind of like camphor flavor. There's a little bit of that on the finish here. Uh, God, I hope this is working right. I've gotten the keyframe rate too low thing way too many times today. Uh, Very good. So this is my start. I might on my next mezcal video kind of go through a little bit more on that, just so we can catch up. But I did want to come at you here. I'm starting a busy week, so I don't know I'm going to come at you again. Let's start out with some mezcal. Tequila mezcal, all great stuff. I think the difference with this also for me is that um, you know there's something different between this and some of the other spirits that we drink. I mean, obviously, I'm always going to be a whiskey fan, but this is a little more of a. It's not quite as heavy to me. Okay, just as a whole. So when I'm sipping this, this is fun to have as I'm doing something. When I have a dram of whiskey, that's kind of a night ender for me. You know what I mean? Both are great. But you see, I've been kind of tugging on this one a little faster than normal. Very good. Today, introduction, Tradiciones de Oaxaca, Banhez, Mezcal. I'm getting like one word well, and then the next sounds great, and the next one, Denominación de Origen, forget it. That's great. Okay, sorry. I moved into this area 2 years ago. And I vowed to work on my Spanish a little bit in Albany Park. I haven't done much. I want to work on it. Michelle is like crushing Duolingo. She's like into some competitions and all that. I haven't. So that's going to be another goal for me. I'm going to work on that. I got some other things taking up my time. Anyway, have fun. So go out, grab yourself some mezcal. All right. Next couple of videos, we'll bring you the series from Del Maguey. We have 3 of those from across the price range, from kind of closer to this to some higher ones. One of my favorite mezcals ever. And we'll talk about a couple other ones. All right. We'll see ya. Mezcal, smoky. I like the smoke. I like the smoke. I like tequila. I like tequila and mezcal. Oof.